Spinning.
The live button came up.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Beth Hildenbrand, and this is All Booked Up. And today, our special guests are Stephen Linebaugh and R.L. Clayton. And before I get the show going, I want to wish a very special happy birthday to Nana. She is like my all, my everything. She's my rock. And I just want her to have the most special birthday ever. We couldn't do this show without her. So from there, I'm going to let our guests tell us a little bit about themselves before we get into the wonderful world of books. So, Stephen, do you want to be our first and take over?
Sure. I am a writer, artist, and a poet. And
Ooh.
I worked with R.L. Clayton from 22 years ago, or 12 years ago, back in 22. And we got our first book out, and it's been wonderful ever since. 13 books, and so besides trying to market his books and do the covers, I do art and graphic design and poetry and photography. And my website is Art by Gordon, and it's all about nature and art. So I'm from
Fabulous.
New Jersey, and now I live in Texas.
I was in Texas. I loved Texas. I keep saying I was born in the wrong state.
Wrong state?
Yeah, Texas is great.
What state are you in?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, I love Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I was a farm girl. Grew up on my grandparents' farm. So when I got to Texas, it was like, oh wow, it's like a farm times a million. It was great for me. Yeah. I really enjoyed it out there. So. Robert.
Okay, I usually go by Clayton. But
okay, Clayton. I can do that.
In my past life, I was an engineer, which was a great career. And but I've always been a science fiction writer and reader. On my writing, somewhere I've got a folder of which should never see the light of day, I hope. Things that I've written. Back in about 2012, I started writing. And that's when I got hold of Steve to do covers for me. I've been doing sci-fi. I've got a thriller series, sci-fi thriller series. Then I did a historical novel. My mom was a pilot in World War II, so I did a historical novel, sort of a tribute to her. And I did a children's book that Steve illustrated for me. So I'm just keep writing. I just enjoy it. I do it for fun now. I'm a hobbyist writer because if I were a business writer, I'd have to spend a whole lot more time listening to somebody else tell me what to do.
That's the truth. That is so the truth. So now Steve contacted me. Steve. Yeah, I shorten names. Sorry about that. And you sent me the children's book, Penelope the Putin Spider. I'm sorry, I giggle at this. It reminds me of my grandchildren. And they would love this book. I haven't seen them since I got it. They would love this book. It's about the ecosystem.
It is.
I think it's fabulous.
A children's story with an eco undercover and theme to it, and that was the whole purpose. Was to introduce children to the idea of the ecology and environmental.
Yeah, Nina thinks that's awesome. And it is a very good story. I will read it to my granddaughter, Baby Evil, I call her. Her name is Eva, but she's a little terrorist, so I kind of dubbed her Baby Evil. And she loves when Grandma has new books for her. And she has learned how to even swipe the pages on my Kindle.
Nice.
And the first thing she does when I walk through the door is get my phone so I can read her the new books that I have for her. Wonderful. So she will be excited to get this one. And it's cute because it kind of reminds me of her backyard. Her mom works for the Humane Society.
Ah.
And they always have a house full of pets, and they're always fostering animals. And so this book will just go over with her very big.
That's all pastels, by the way.
The other thing that I did in the book was, what's a pooting spider? Well, Penelope, when she eats mosquitoes that have Zika virus, it gives her gas.
You see, and kids will love that because it's got some humor to it. And I can just hear her pooting all over the place now.
Oh, yes.
She will totally get off on that. And let's say good morning to our friends. Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, Nana. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, Jenny, I've got a review of one of your books this morning. She's one of my faves.
Wonderful.
Yes, the illustrations were gorgeous. I absolutely loved it. And it was just such a kid-friendly and learning book. And I love that.
It's got sense of humor all over it, too.
It does. And if there's anything children love, it's animals.
Yeah.
So, it was just a really good children's book.
Well, I originally wrote it because my granddaughter was deathly afraid of spiders, and I thought if I got her to help me on it, that would kind of ease that fear, but it didn't work.
Oh, you see, a baby evil hasn't met a bug she didn't like.
Good.
But she's something else. When she was a baby, she used to, knock over the other children and steal their cookies in daycare. Thus, baby evil. This is she was something else. But yeah, she's just Grandma writes occult horror, so what do you expect? But to get a baby evil. But yeah, she's just my adorable little child. They call her Bean. I call her Evil. But anyway, I'm going to sit here and talk about my grandchildren all day. This needs to stop. Okay, bringing myself back. We're talking about books this morning, not terrible children. And she's not terrible. I don't mean that. She's a wonderful little girl. She really is.
In a good way.
Yes, she's like the darling of her kindergarten class now. So, yeah. Oh, and my son, her dad, just messaged me. He's like, what's up? Yeah, well, I was going to call and tell the children about this book this morning. That's what's up. I was going to read it to them quick this morning and get their opinion before I did the show. But nobody was awake in time. So that didn't happen. Okay, back to the show. So you also do sci-fi, and you have done the covers, and I've seen them on your website, and they're fabulous. So, you want to tell us a little bit about your sci-fi books?
Yes. My first book, The Sea Species, was a sci-fi that had to do with evolution. And it's not evolution as to what happened in the past, it's where we're going in evolution. And the premise was that when we start to create life, we become a new species. Well, genetics caught up. And I tried to go to a traditional publisher, but the idea was that within a year or 2 years, it wouldn't be sci-fi anymore. So that's what I self-published. And after the first book, the characters told me that you need to do another one. And then after the second book, they said, you need to do another one. And that was where I took evolution all the way to the end. Go figure, right?
Yeah.
And then I started the thriller series. And in the thriller series, every book addresses a topic that's hot at the time I wrote it. And the latest book that was published is called Dead Space, and it deals with AI. Hot topic of the day, right? And I tied the thriller series into the sci-fi series. So they're all tied together.
A really cool point with dystopia. At one point, dystopia really wasn't a big deal. You didn't really hear a lot about it. And he did the second in that series of thriller. And he first started mentioning dystopia, and all of a sudden it became a thing. It's like I feel like he's always kind of a little bit of ahead of the curve.
Well,
what's coming? What's the new thing?
I looked at dystopian society, the dystopian stuff that was out there, Hunger Games and in some of the early ones, 1984 and stuff like that. And there was very little explanation of how the society became dystopian. And that's what I did in Dead Reckoning. It's what we have outside our door right now, going into a dystopian society. So that was done in 2016. And there were two things that happened in that. One was a bio attack on the United States, and the other was a cyber attack on the United States that drove the United States into a dystopian society. Well, bio attack, gee, this is before COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then cyber attack, which we've been battling this whole time. And there it was, just laid it out.
Yeah, it's frightening. When they talk about the whole grid going down and all that stuff, I'm like, it scares you.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you're like, okay, switch off brain. You don't want to think about that. That's too frightening to actually think about.
Yeah.
It is.
So you just kind of smack it to the back of your head because you don't even want to go there.
Well, electronics are the Achilles heel of our civilization.
Exactly. They really are. It's truly one of those things where if you sit and think about it, it'll scare the hell out of you. So you purposely don't think about it. And I have to give credit to the people who sit and write these books like you do, because I honestly don't know how you can sit and actually concentrate on those things and not let it totally boggle your mind.
Yeah. The one I did before, Deadware, had to do with hackers and ransomware. And it was, well, I wouldn't say it should be addressed that way because it got pretty gory, but it's something that you hear about and you say, you're cheering because the people that do the hacking, that do all this, everybody's going, oh man, if we could only get rid of these people. So I did.
I know. So, see, my son, well, I had this, I have to talk to my son today. Now, I've had people telling me that somebody's putting trash up on after my shows. And I've had this happen before on my Facebook page. And I truly just ignore it because you give anybody attention over this.
Yeah.
And, you go on and say, just stop putting this trash up on my page. That's exactly what they want. So, I just delete it and ignore it, delete it and ignore it.
Yeah.
And then I thought, oh, this kid, he knows all this computer stuff. I'll see if he can find out where it's coming from. But, these hacker people are just nuts.
Yeah. All over the place, too, in all different countries. I mean, it's hard to
attention seekers. That's
Yeah.
what they are. They're attention seekers.
They are. And so many book groups have had to shut down because of these, these people coming in and putting trash in their groups and just taking over to the point
they need to read my book. That'll tell them how to take care of it.
There you go. Okay, everybody buy the book. Buy the book. Then you know how to get these hackers out of your groups.
Yes.
I mean, mine is policed like crazy. I have a book group called By the Author. And we police it just constantly because people get in and it's just insane. Oh, good author, you need promotion for your book. And it's like, oh, you're kidding me. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And then they will put up profiles like they're authors, and they will have books. I mean, they look like a genuine author. And then it's, why do you have so few reviews? You need to do this. And it's, oh my God. Oh my God, it's one of those wackadoodles. And it's amazing how these people, worm their way in.
Yeah. Now
Yeah.
AI is everywhere, so you don't even know what it is anymore, right?
I know it's crazy. And
Right.
and some people are so over the top about the AI stuff, and how people are using it to write books now.
Yes.
I had a lot of fun in the AI book because the character that I created was an AI. And the commentary that character makes about humans and civilization and people, I had a lot of fun writing that. And some of it you just got to chuckle over because you're saying, yeah, that's really right. And I took a departure. Steve knows about this. I took a departure on the book that I just finished with it's a paranormal, and I hadn't done a paranormal before. So it's a paranormal autobiography. Go figure, right?
Oh, I love the paranormal. I have been to oh, for heaven's sakes, Gettysburg
Oh.
so many times. I love Gettysburg.
See anything?
Oh, never.
Never. It's not.
One time I thought I might have, but it's one of those things where you have to question, was somebody doing it on purpose?
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw somebody in a window, and I was like smacking my friend. hey, there's somebody in that window. But it was on a ghost tour, so you have to think, okay, somebody was probably standing up in that window just so I could say, hey, there's somebody up in that window.
Well, I enjoy it, so I don't question it, because it's like I just want to enjoy this feeling of a ghost. I don't put too much. Don't want to analyze it too much. I love the whole ghost thing. So.
It's for fun, really.
Yeah.
But if you're going to see a place, I imagine Gettysburg is a good place to see one.
Oh yeah.
When I visited Gettysburg, I just felt all of this rising up out of the ground. It was scary.
I know the history there is just, I mean, even if you just go for the history, you're not going for the ghosts, you can feel it. I mean, the history of the place is just soaked into the ground there, literally. And
That's right.
It's just fascinating. And every year it seems they have more to see.
Yeah.
I have been there half a dozen times in the last 3 or 4 years, and there you still don't see it all every time you go. There's always more to see. It's a wonderful place.
I'm from New Jersey originally, so I miss Pennsylvania. I love Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah, we have some good history here in PA.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You do.
Yeah, it's you can just walk out the door. My house is the first house that was built on this street.
Oh wow!
And yeah, it's so I live in a very old town, and it's a lot of fun here in town. It's just we have this place called the Cloister that was built by this crazy old fella, and it was men on one side, women on the other side, and it died out because they literally didn't have sex.
Oh.
So yeah, it didn't. It was a religious order. Did not last very long because they didn't have sex. So of course they died out. Duh.
Yeah.
You kind of gotta procreate to keep on going.
Just basic instinct.
Yeah, but it was just one of those fascinating old German religious sects.
Yeah.
And I have a couple books that are kind of based on it and around it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun around here. You got all kinds of kooks and craziness, and all that old Pennsylvania Dutch heritage.
Yes.
And
I want to
so
go up to Catskills. I know that's New York, but Catskills, it's all haunted. There's spirits everywhere, right? There's a lot of history up there.
there is, and I enjoy every minute of the
Oh,
craziness.
I bet.
And the people, oh my goodness, I have the Mennonite and Amish, pull their kids away when they see me coming. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I have to ask, Stephen, do you have any of your artwork that you can show off?
How do I do? Uh,
We
hold on one second.
caught you here.
This poster behind me, Steve did that poster. This poster.
Oh, yes, you brought that out, and that is so cool. And oh, now see, I love that.
This is a bear. It's called 399 up in Montana. She just recently got killed and on the road, and that's her last baby. And she's done like 23 different cubs. But I do a lot of portraits. I do portraits now, and I do lots of light. In fact, I'm about to come up with a story about isolating light in pastel, because I'm like perfecting how the light is from nothing, So I want you to look at the painting and say, how's that light coming out of nowhere? So,
oh, I love that painting. That is very good.
Thank you.
That's fabulous.
Artbygordon.com is where I have all my paintings and lots of work. I do oils and I work in pastels as well.
Oh, thank you for sharing that.
Also, if you look on Clayton's YouTube, we got a video. Don't we have a video for each, right? Almost each book. We've got videos of his stuff.
Yes.
So.
Steve did videos for me on YouTube.
Well, I tell everybody, put your links on my Facebook page after the show, so that everybody can find your work, your books, and your art, and everything. Yep. That way, after they watch the show, they know where to find you.
When we first started, we did sea species, and I was learning about video. It was totally. And we did a video of his sea species with all these flashing things coming across. And then he put music to it, and a voice. That's what it was. It was a voice, did a voiceover. And that was our first video. And now we've done, 7 or so?
I think so. I just get a notice. There's another video I put up for you.
Yeah. And now I get to do the next one. The iGhost is going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, yeah. We'll have fun with that one.
Yeah. So we've done so many different things in his, between posters and websites, videos, and we just keep on plugging away, and he keeps writing.
Steve does it. All I do is write.
Yeah, you're right.
Steve does. I got the easy job.
But I've really enjoyed working with him. It's been amazing.
Well, it sounds like you guys are a great team.
Oh yeah.
I need to start asking you some questions now. We have questions over here. Let's see. Which of your books was your favorite to write?
Probably Dead Reckoning was one of my favorites. That was the dystopia. Where did it come from? How did we get to it? And it had a lot of ring to it of several other authors in the whole theme. I enjoyed that one a lot. But I really like Deadware because of all the commentary made by the AI about civilization and humans.
Okay. And Stephen, who was your biggest artistic influence?
Frank Frazetta for my kind of fantasy kind of feeling. Robert Bateman for my wildlife, and Monet for my impressionist.
Okay, I know Monet.
Frank Rosetta was he used to do all those the bodies and monsters and things like that. The very old Vallejo, like kind of like Vallejo. Have you ever heard of it? Like all those old fantasy, very old fantasy artwork.
Okay.
Very,
Okay.
and the other one was a wildlife artist who I really, really like.
Now, see, if you were talking to my son, he would know exactly who you're talking about on all this. I don't. No, I'm lost. If you showed me their art, I'd be like, "Oh yes, I know that."
Yeah.
But the names don't click with me too good.
Yeah.
Nope. Robert and Stephen, what motivated you to write and draw?
Robert first.
I started writing at an early age, and I read voraciously, and that's what drew me into writing.
Mm-hmm.
Once I retired from engineering, I had to do something to stay out of trouble, so I started writing.
With me, I've been doing my art since I was as long as I can remember, and it's just been something that's I've always done with all my creativity. It's like kind of breathing. So I've been kind of I've had a full-time job all these years, but I've always had this side art.
Now, my son, I remember he was in the 5th grade, and I mean, he was always drawing, and he loved art. And in the middle of a snowstorm, he decides to tell us, "Oh, guess what? My art is hanging in a gallery tonight."
Oh, nice.
And we're like, "What?" And he says, "Yeah, here, I have this letter from the teacher that he'd been carrying in his backpack for days."
Artist.
And he hands it to us, and it was like, okay, down in Lancaster in a gallery. Yeah, he had a piece of art hanging that night. He had this school thing where he had a piece of art hanging in a downtown gallery.
Wow.
And so there we bundled up, and in the middle of this snowstorm, drove down to Lancaster, and he had a picture hanging in this art gallery. He was in the 5th grade. And I was never prouder and more irritated with my child in all my life. We got there 10 miles an hour in the middle of this snowstorm, but we were not missing this child's big art debut. And I still have this picture hanging, all framed and hanging in the house.
That's great.
And he can have it when I die, but it will hang in my house until then, because that was a big special thing, and I mean we almost missed it.
Wow.
Because
I relate to that because we're artists, writer. We're not real good with the whole time.
No, not at all.
It's like, oh yeah, this. We're bad about that.
Yes, absolutely. I just well, the other night I had an interview with a nice man. I'm doing a new book on true stories, true paranormal stories.
Oh, nice.
And I was interviewing a man, and he said, a message popped up, "Are we still doing our interview tonight?" And I'm like, "Oh, I thought that was tomorrow."
Oh, yeah, nice.
I'm sitting here in my jammies because I don't have Nina on this one. It's for the publisher. And I was like, oops. And so I had to message the guy, "Could we possibly do this tomorrow?" I totally spazzed and got the wrong night. This is what happens when I keep my own calendar for something.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm just impossible.
Nana, right?
Nana, yes. See, I called her Nina for so long that I still do it, even though I know it's Nana. Oh, okay. Stephen, how did you develop your art skills?
All self-taught. Very, very long period of time self-taught. I went to I got an associate's degree in art, but I didn't really learn the art in school. It was more my I just worked it all. I've been doing it as long as I can remember, you know, 'cause I got mess all over the walls at my old house in New Jersey, you know, pastel and paint. So I've just been doing it for so long, and also studying and reading on other artists, you know, techniques and sort of thing. But I've done everything the hard way. I just kind of learned as I go.
I think that's how my kid did it too. I mean,
Yeah.
he just started doing his own thing, and it was like,
You
wow.
learn what's not good, not what's not bad. You know. Also, I did the same thing with Photoshop and all the online stuff. I got a job. I did a green tree frog on arts and letters, and I got my job in art in a high tech company. And that's how I started Photoshop. I had no idea what I was doing. I got hired and had no idea what I was doing, and kind of worked it as I went. And I've been doing it ever since. That kind of thing. You just kind of like when Clayton was asking me this morning about how do we get on this. I don't know. I don't usually know until I get there, and then I'll look at all the buttons and figure out how to get there. You know. So I think I kind of enjoy that. So.
Well, I have it's I have run out of time, guys. So I have to thank you both for being here. And I'm going to ask you to hang in there while I do some reviews. Now, first, I lied. I wanted to, I said I had a review for Jenny, and I didn't. I just wanted to announce her new book. She has a new book coming out. It's called Masquerade, I believe. And I have to tell everybody that they want to buy it because it's a great book.
Okay.
And Jenny is one of my favorite authors. She's a great girl, and everybody will want to get it. And I want to tell you guys, next time you have a book coming out, hey, come back and we'll have you on the show, and we'll make sure that we have pictures to match the book. Because I am amazed that you guys have kept this partnership going for all this time. This is incredible. Most marriages don't last as long as you guys have. Wow. I mean, mine barely did. Well, the first one anay. Second one's still going.
Congratulations. That's good.
It did sound kind of bad, didn't it? I need more coffee. Okay. So for reviews, we have Karen Hall. She's another sweetheart. And Corbin, Black Bears of Independence. And she would love your painting, I have to tell you. I'll have to tell Karen to watch this because she's did this whole bear series. And yeah, she loves bears. She's going to love your painting. I'll have to tell her to see this.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to read this. It's a 5-star, happy, feel-good romance book. The Caretaker by Mary Woldering. Now, this was it was a short story. I'm giving this one 5 stars too. The Caretaker, it's called. It was a very bizarre vampire book. Totally changed up on the whole vampire legend. I was fascinated. It was very intriguing. You need to check this out. It's a quick read, cup of coffee, curled up on a Sunday morning, exactly how I read this book, and I enjoyed it very much. Blood Lily by Jenny Allen. Forensic Vampire.
Wow.
Now, this was another good one. It was kind of like Bones turned vampire, or Vampire Bones. If you like the show Bones.
Yeah.
Okay, now picture Bones as a vampire.
Nice.
Really good book. I loved it. Getting book 2. Very good book. Rolling with the Punches. I mean, 5 stars if I didn't say that. Yes, 5 stars for that one. Rolling with the Punches by Melanie True. I read her first book. This was the second book of hers I read. Another 5 stars. totally hot guys. Yeah, totally hot guys through the book. And roller derby chick. Okay, what more needs to be said?
There you go.
I mean, it's my first roller derby chick book.
That's not something you hear all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So another original thing, you read. And so when somebody throws you something original, like, hey, forensic vampire, roller derby chick, strange and unusual vampire stories that you haven't heard a million times before. Yeah. Hey, these things click. So all these books, very good. Check them out because I love the strange and unusual, and it doesn't happen often. So these were all very good books. You have my what do you want to call it?
Approval.
Yes, my stamp of approval, the Beth stamp of approval. And that don't happen often, folks. So go check out these books. Because if I say they're good, they're good. And goodness knows it's hard to make me excited these days. I'm getting old. I've pretty much seen and done most of it.
I get it.
So happy birthday to my Nana.
Happy birthday, Nana.
We love you, honey. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And thank you to everybody who tuned in. And if you missed any of the shows, catch them on YouTube because I'm there too. I'm everywhere. I just spread my happy joy all over the world. So thank you both for being on the show, and be sure to come back because we had a great time.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
It was my pleasure.
Yeah, day.
Yeah. Yes, you too. You can hang on for just a sec, and I'm going to say bye-bye to everybody. Love you. Bye-bye.